Welcome to a galaxy far, far away. Here at the Cantina Podcast, we provide top shelf service, including rumors, leaks, news, and reviews. Come in, order a Loman Ale, and remember, no droids allowed. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cantina. Technically, now the Cantina Reviews. I think we like to put the little reviews word in front of our reviews series, because believe it or not, this started out just to review the original movies leading up to the Rise of Skywalker. Well, not just the original movie, but all the movies leading up to the Rise of Skywalker. And then we were like, hey, it's so much fun, me and this Scottish guy talking all the time Star Wars. So we decided to do news and leaks, rumors, and additional reviews, because hey, we're in a world of a plethora of Star Wars content, so long as it's not in theaters, right? I'm Kyle, that's Cam. Shocky's not here today. If and when he can join us, we've got a whole nother OBS setup just for him. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. 553 of you have so far. Really appreciate that. Help us break 1,000 before the end of the year. And then, of course, if you're listening on your favorite podcast, if you are listening on your favorite podcast app, follow us on that. Leave us some reviews, thumbs up, down. Let us know what we can do better. The opinions, I don't know how much those will change, but it's here, Cam. Finally here. Andor, man. Andor has hit, and I have to know, how do you feel about it?
I'm impressed so far. I think I kind of felt like from the trailers and hope that, and I was rewarded by that hope, if you like, because it's kind of it has went in the direction that I kind of hoped the show was going to go, and in some respects it was actually even better than I expected in terms of how they just sort of put it all together. So very much on the high positive for me.
Okay. Most people will know that I have spoken multiple times about my fears, my concerns for this series. And I must say, to be completely honest and fair, I do think that apprehension is feeding into my viewing a bit. Not in that I was disappointed in this at all, because I wasn't. I think I was just expecting it either to be absolutely horrible or absolutely amazing, that here I am seeing something that is just solidly good. And that's not I mean that in the best way. It is solidly good. Production value good, acting good, almost all the CGI good, almost, but we'll get into that later. So I'm sitting here watching it and I'm like, I'm enjoying it, but I don't know what to do, because it's not like, oh my god, and it's not that, oh my god,
it's not that kind of show yet.
Right, and that's okay. But like I said,
it's a very different experience to what we've ever had.
Exactly. So I'm sitting here watching it, and I'm just like, this is good, and that's where I'm at. So I'm satisfied. Yeah. I'm not blown away, which in a way is kind of blowing me away. I'm not blown away in a good or which is fine.
That's kind of where I am as well. You never know how it's going to go, but if it can continue to be this interesting and well put together, then this really could be something special. Because I think you could talk about this. And I know this might seem extreme to some people, but I would compare this show more to something like Breaking Bad than I would Book of Boba Fett, for example. I think it's closer to that than it is what we got in Book of Boba Fett, which is, apart from having the best episode like ever, which episode 5 was, it was amazing.
The best Star Wars TV episode ever.
6. Yeah. Sorry. It was fantastic. But,
for you,
but other than that, I think the show was the poorest of the Star Wars shows we've got, right, so far. And that means that I'm probably, the way I'm thinking just now is, if this continues on this trajectory, this could be the best Star Wars show we've had in
It very well could be.
Because I enjoy this more than I did early Mandalorian. You know, I liked Mandalorian, but it took a while to get into it, but I'm into this more.
I can see that. One of the first things that came to my mind was how much this reminded me of like the middle season of Battlestar Galactica, where you're really seeing like people worn down by their situation, and you're delving into a lot of how interpersonal relationships play into the bigger narrative. And even though we're not really dealing with the bigger narrative ourselves, we know what it is: the rebellion forming, the empire spreading, and resentment, and all of that. So I'm instantly reminded of that, which again is a good thing. I love the reimagined Battlestar that started in 2003 and then skipped to 2005 and yada yada.
On what you're saying there about that, there's a grittiness to this as well.
Yes.
It kind of feels older rather than newer.
Yes.
And that's part of why it's visually good. It almost feels like it harkens back to that A New Hope disused, you know, fallen to pieces crap, you know, scrap planets, you know, which have been used so well in games, comics, you know, animation, but never really done well so far in live action. And you just kind of feel like you're part of I wouldn't say the underworld, which I mean criminal, but the lower class of people.
Right. You feel like you're on the ground. You're not even in the military doing big frontline stuff. You're on the ground. So I really appreciate that. And then what was the other thing I was going to say? There's another feeling that I kind of get. Oh, so because it fits in that, it does feel a lot like reading some EU stories, of course, which is again another positive, but it's a bit jarring again because it's been a while since we've had something that felt like the EU, like really felt like the EU. The last real thing you can think of is kind of Rogue One again, you know, but even that's got a lot more like OT weight to it.
Yeah, this and as much as Rogue One had that visual flair, right? It had that old-timey feel, but there wasn't a lot going on under the hood, right?
No.
You know, there's not a lot going on with the characters and their arcs. That's where this is elevated beyond that for me so far, because even the tertiary characters that you might never see again in Andor are all played by really experienced like TV actors who just nail it, and you care about these characters, you know. It just, there's something about it, just as if it's just sometimes you can't place that magic, but it doesn't feel like people are acting. It just feels like they've got the right story in the right place, made by the right people so far.
And it's not perfect by any means necessary, and we might nitpick at a few things, but it's a solid start. And so with that, Cam, what would you grade each episode if you could go through real quick?
I graded them overall an A, so I went A minus, A plus in terms of episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. Right, so I really did enjoy it. Overall an A. It's just it's mature. It makes you think a little bit more
A+
about
speaks, it. Man, like I start thinking about things that I've given A+ to and 10 out of 10s, and I don't see that here. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's the show not tell, which is going on here, and that's where I liken it to something like Breaking Bad. They do away with exposition. You know, they have aliens speaking a language and they have no subtitles for it. It's the little details like that which, for me, immerse you into that story. And honestly, I could have just kept watching that. See if that was on binge, you know, if they had released it all in one go, I'd have probably smashed that out in like 24 or 48 hours. Maybe it could in the middle, it could get boring, but I mean, usually you find that more at the start of these things that are a little bit slow to get going. But I just thought even the action feels more visceral. You know that Andor's going to survive till at least Rogue One, because we know he has a death in Rogue One.
He's got a date with the Death Star.
Kind of feel that they're in danger, you know. whereas you don't always get that for some characters all the time in Star Wars shows, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that. I ended up giving it B+ for episode 1, B- for episode 2, and A- for episode 3.
So we still kind of both thought it was 3, 1, 2.
Yeah.
In terms of how they went, but
yeah. It almost makes me wonder about editing, and that's kind of where some points were lost. Sometimes I'm like, man, episode 1 and 2 could have almost been one whole thing, maybe cut down a little bit from each and then smushed together into a 55, 60-minute episode, maybe.
I've got a hard disagree with you there. I mean, I like the extra time that they're spending just to feel the kind of time and the place these people are. Like the little bits that they could have, most shows would have cut out as the Stellan Skarsgård character arriving. You don't need to have any of that. And I loved all that. It really establishes the kind of character and the world building that's going on.
And I think, like I said earlier, my apprehension is feeding into things. So we always allow ourselves to go by and change grades later, because I think the other aspect to my kind of feelings on it initially is I'm almost looking at this as a 8 or 9 episode deal, not a 12 episode deal. So as we go along, these first 3 episodes might even end up being better in my mind, because I'll settle into it instead of having all the weight of everything that's come before. You know what I'm saying? So maybe it'll be a little bit better. I also mentioned
any. Sorry, well, go. I was just going to.
No, I was going to say I've also mentioned before that I've lost a lot of patience for like establishing shot. We've talked about this on other things, to where
like
things
Mando,
that I think,
where,
and sometimes when you linger on a person for an extra 3 seconds, and all that starts adding up. So there's a lot to it that is just me, but we'll see how it kind of goes. Yeah. Did you have some?
I was going to just say, I mean, you just mentioned one. But I was just going to say, do you have any specific non-spoiler criticisms that you could point to, whereas it didn't quite hit the heights where I felt it?
So besides editing, I would say some of the corporate, I forget the company, but some of the corporate actors, and it's not the main guy or his sergeant, his right-hand man, but some of the ones around them in the main base, I don't know, their acting kind of didn't fit with everyone else's. Some of the set designs feel, I really like that they're physical, but there's still some of that claustrophobic feeling, because I'm wondering how much, and it's mostly at like the corporate, the corporate guys. And
but I mean, they're in an office.
Well, no, not just the office, but even like the transitions between spaces inside this bigger facility. Some of it just felt cramped. I don't know how else to word it. Little things like that, which again could even be part of the editing in the way that they're walking, where they make their cuts as they're taking you from one area to another. Let me think here. What else? I really wish I had written down more notes, but like I said, I got a lot on our plate here at home. Just little things like that. I think really the editing and the pacing, little bits from actors here and there. That's really just kind of music. I have not really been impressed with the music. As a matter of fact, I think it was episode 2, and not that it's bad.
The closing theme of episode 2.
No. Was that the one with the drums, with the real hollow sounding, very earth-based drums? Like, again, it's a nitpicky thing, but that is so reminiscent of like earth-based TV show type drum. You know what I'm saying? It's not the type of orchestral drumming that you hear. It's very rock and
it's different
roll
from
type.
Something you would expect from John Williams 100%. Yeah,
right.
I liken that there's a hint of kind of almost Blade Runner in there of modernization.
I could kind of see that. So there are aspects of it that, and again, both good and I guess right now kind of bad maybe in a way, that aren't as Star Warsy as I wish they would be. But again, this is brand new and we've got some time to go, and I might settle into some things that right now might be bugging me, but later
I guess
does that make sense?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess that explains why my ratings are different, because I loved the music. I loved it.
Yeah.
This is something different, and they gave us something that is almost Star Wars, but it's almost this different thing itself, and it gives that different. It helps with the tonal change that we're supposed to be experiencing here.
And I think I wanted 1 inch closer to Star Wars, while you're happy 1 inch closer to not. Maybe that's it.
It was almost Vangelis like at one point, and actually almost felt like I wanted that to kick in. I think when we've had people scoring that are outside of John Williams, right, in the main movie themes I'm talking about, when they've not been using his themes, which we both agree they should use more of, and so Obi-Wan Kenobi should have used more, because it's the central characters, Andor shouldn't, because there's no place for it in Andor, you know what I mean? It's not, why would we need the Star Wars theme?
You could hear, if they show us more Imperial stuff, you could hear maybe faint remnants of Imperial March, but not full out.
Maybe
just
done
something
in a different way.
Just reminds you. Something like that. But no, this is not the show for a bunch of Star Wars music.
It's always just felt a bit meh to me so far when it's been other composers, but this kind of stands out to me as being memorable. It felt like it matched what the show was that I was watching, which has not always been the case. So that, plus I disagree with you on the actors, because I didn't spot anything like that. I thought they were all really good. I guess there was a lot of British actors, and
maybe that's why I'm
dialects,
just angry.
And it just I just think you wanted more Americans. Although the Americans were good as well. I guess you're talking about maybe lingering shots, and I thought that really helped build I like the slowness of it. So it's purely subjective. It's purely subjective. Yeah.
Absolutely. It kind of sucks because I keep saying how I want Bear McCreary to do Star Wars, and I'd be really interested, considering his work on Battlestar, how he would have handled this show. But hey, he's doing Rings of Power and doing a pretty good job with the Rings of Power. So. You guys can hear us talk the Rings of Power on Review of the Rings on Saturdays. So you ready to chat about some spoilers?
You get into some details? Sure.
Yeah, let's get into some details. So dealing with Andor specifically, how are you enjoying this backstory of him and all these kids? I don't know if their parents are all enslaved at the mine that they show on his original home world. I mean, you've got a real Lost Boys type situation where everyone seems to be 20 or under.
I love how that it's just mysterious. It feels like
they're
Lord
not
of
giving
the
us
Flies
any.
To me.
That's another. There's a good one. No translations.
A sort of hierarchy, a structure. You had the leader, and she kind of seemed to protect Kikasa, as his original name was.
Yeah.
And he's obviously looking for this sister who he's left behind there. And then they talk about...
technically he was kidnapped, so...
He was technically kidnapped, but she won't know that,
Yeah.
And I don't know if you heard, but one of the things they said was that it was completely, made uninhabitable by an Imperial mining accident.
Yeah, sure.
Which, that's what happened to Alderaan as well. So, mining accident. So, but that seems to be after that point, I kind of feel. Because when she rescues Casa, she says the Republic. She talks about the Republic coming. So that seems pre-Order 66, if that makes sense. And given Cassian's what, 30s here? You know, I think we know Diego Luna's older than that, right? But I think he's supposed to be in his sort of 30s. That if this was 15 years ago, you know, or even before that, it would be pre-Order 66 and pre the Empire. Do you know what I mean? So it's interesting. I don't think we fully know what's going on there, and I think they're going to build little bits of that as we go along. Maybe not so much in flashback now, because we kind of have took ourselves to a point where we know where it's all come together.
Yeah.
But I think his quest to find his sisters, that's going to be a recurring theme because it's important to him.
And I do think it's interesting that there's an actual mother character in this. You know, one thing we don't deal with in Star Wars very much, and I let me finish getting this out, is parents, though. We deal with a lot of them and how they're away from people. We deal a lot with parental trauma. We don't really get a lot of father-daughter, father-son, mother-daughter, mother-son. We don't get a lot of the actual them together, a look at their relationship.
No.
And this kind of gives you a chance. It's the mother figure.
Built in the Skywalkers, who are as completely dysfunctional families,
right? You know? And they're you only learn that their parentage while they're apart, and they weren't. You know, Vader never raises him. That's what I mean by it's not. They don't involve parenting. There's the word I should be using. You don't get to see any type of actual parenting relationships in the they've been together since.
You're right, because even here, in, like some of the animation, because I was thinking like some of the animation, there's some of them are younger, like Ezra's a bit younger to begin with, Ahsoka's a bit younger to begin with, but it's not their parents. They don't have parent figures either. They have someone else providing parent figure. Which, you know,
here we've got an adult with someone that's raised him since a child, someone that's been with him.
Not his actual parent, but
not his actual parent, but exactly in the process. We're seeing the end result of like an Ezra after he's gotten a bigger family to raise him, so to speak.
Made me think. I think we will get more flashbacks because remember what I forget his name, Stellan Skarsgård's character. Remember what he said to Cassian is, they hung your dad in the square. So remember, he's got the other character. That was obviously they were his mum and dad.
Yes.
And at some point that guy, his father's been hung. I wonder if we'll get to find out what happened there and whether it was Imperial related or something. So like that.
It'll be kind of interesting to see that aspect of it, and I think I'm interested in that. The girlfriend thing that he's got, or not really girlfriend, but the female friend that he had assisting him, her douche jealous boyfriend, like almost ruining things and getting himself killed because he ruined things. I enjoyed all of that. Like I said, I've really liked the interpersonal
consequences.
Exactly,
you know, which is
and how
show not tell.
This small interpersonal thing feeds into something bigger, these corporate guys, and then those feed into something even bigger, their dealings and whatnot with the Empire, which leads us to a Death Star and some farm boy with a lightsaber. You know, it's cool, man. I'm digging it. Yeah, how do you feel about the Skarsgård character? One, I have to make fun of him for calling him Cassian Andor. I just like picking at that. Andor.
It's just I love it. I just love his.
No, it's fine. It's fine, dude. I like Stellan. I love him every time he's in Thor or Marvel movie.
Yeah,
he's been great. I know he really should.
He gets to show his more comedic side, I guess, in those. But this is a serious role, and I really like him in a serious role.
Absolutely, he's an amazing actor, and it's great to see him in Star Wars playing it up, man. He was probably the highlight of episode 3 and part of what raised that episode so high for me. He's just great.
The mother character was great as well, though, and I forget her name, but she was Harry Potter's aunt that raised him in the Harry Potter films, right? So it's but she's a wonderful actress, and I just thought all her scenes as well were kind of almost scene stealing. You know, it's just this elderly mother type that you have to, you know, it felt like a real situation. You know, that you would find somebody in a normal place, but it was happening in the Star Wars universe, and instead of a little dog that she had or something, she's got a little droid. The droid. And I thought that was one of the coolest droids we've had in a while as well, because like you can design something up to the max to say, oh, they'll buy this toy, they'll buy that toy. But do you know what gives something character is you've got to give it character in the film. The Millennium Falcon had character because it fell apart and still saved the day. That's why it wasn't because it looks cool. It looks like a piece of shit.
Meant to look like a piece of shit.
B was just one of the coolest droids that they've brought into Star Wars in a long time because he was falling apart and had just charm. You know what I mean? I really, really enjoyed that. Droid,
Welcome to a gal.
Displeased if we don't get to see him again.
Yeah, I accidentally hit the intro button for a half second. Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm sure we will see him again.
I don't know.
I think so. I don't. Well, that's true because there's this whole thing about the 3-episode arcs and moving forward. But we do know that girl was left behind and the mom's there, and so I don't know if we're done.
I mean, maybe come back and see them at some point. I can see, but I don't think they'll be major players.
No, not in that.
Because he's not going to really be back there because they're looking for him as well. He's still
they did add that droid's face to the intro. Like when they're showing all the helmets, I think the eyeball piece is the last droid that you see in the intro. That is something I
would like to see more of.
Go ahead.
Is I don't know what his name was. I think it was Cyril or something like that, which was the kind of, I would call him Inspector Viavere, which is like the guy from Les Miserables, you know what I mean, who is always chasing after was it Jean Valjean, and he's like he's, you know, it's the law and you've committed a crime and
the rules are the
rules. And I almost felt like he was the, you know, the Inspector Javert kind of character.
Yeah.
It's the one that Russell Crowe plays, if you've ever watched the kind of Les Miserables film. And I just thought musicals. Just one of those things I've come across. It's not really my cup of tea, but you know,
sure.
I know the character.
No, yeah. So him and his sergeant at arms type guy, his like right hand man that joined, that kind of pumps him up, his hype man. They're both great. He looks like the rules are the rules guy. He is, dude. Like, did they actually stick a stick up his ass before filming? Because he fits it perfectly. That is a compliment.
Yeah, that's what
everything he's supposed to exude. Everything he's supposed to exude, this false confidence, this I'm in the right because I'm following the rules, but oh my god, I'm scared to actually, you know, take action, but it has to be done. But at the same time, leading up to his big fuck ups, sorry about the F-bomb, big screw up there on the planet, trying to capture Andor, capture
when
Andor.
His supervisor's already told him under no uncertain terms,
dude,
this.
You can even see him starting to like pump himself up and like, yeah, man, I'm doing this. This is gonna happen. He's like taking charge, and then when he has to give his big pep speech to rally the troops before heading down, you can just tell he's in over his head.
I mean, that's what was great about that scene. Just the silence when he's afterwards, and then the other guy, you know, doing what the sergeant guy does and going, right, I need to save this situation and you know, move things on. Because he just wants to be active, you know. You can tell he just wants a unit out there and go and fuck some people up. That's what he's keen on. And he basically says that, you know, we'll be better if we're used ultimately. Yeah. There was some great dialogue in this as well. Like some of the lines they used were really quite well written.
I dug the main supervisor when he's like, you know, what's this case, you know, and he's like, okay, here's what we know, and stick up the ass guy, he's all just like, I don't know, we'll find some lead. And the other guys, well, like, look, let me tell you what happened. A couple of guards that are up to no good
He nailed it.
They got into a fight with someone else who was up to no good. Well, he came out on top. Bury it. Like, it's dirty, yeah, sure, but he knew what was going on.
Because
and I love
what he's thinking about
that.
is when this case all comes out,
yeah,
he has to explain why these guys were there.
Why did they have
doing,
the extra money? Why were they where they weren't supposed to be? All of that.
And
they're already dead. Let it go.
Yeah, if what's his name, Cyril, I just keep calling him Inspector. He just doesn't see that. He hears it and it just goes in one ear and straight out the other, because that doesn't matter to him, And the reason I want to see more of him, because it could be that we just leave him there and we never see him again. The reason I would hope that we do see more of him is because I think when you look at something like Les Miserables, the point is that the character is forced into situations where they have to question that.
Mm-hmm.
That, it just doesn't stand up to too much scrutiny. That's the whole point. If you think about it too much, you will always overthink it. You've given yourself a problem. And I'd kind of almost like to see if they go that route with this guy and put him in situations where, there isn't necessarily a clear right and wrong, and he just doesn't know what to do. Does that make sense?
I can see that. Do you think we're going to see a lot more of them? Because all we saw in the trailer, it was just this. I mean, I could see them leaving that story just done. I mean, he's going to be screwed when Boss finds out.
Like. Yeah, and honestly, it wouldn't be that bad. It's not as if I would hate it. If I would gone, I'm fine with
almost dig it.
I almost dig it, but I would for an arc that could potentially be there.
Absolutely. And if it is there, I'm down with it either way. I don't know if I would necessarily like this to be the whole season. Bad guy for the whole season. I don't really see this company and its resources being able
up to the Empire,
right,
don't we?
Exactly. So, but if they followed through for half the season, 6 episodes, maybe that could work. Something, yeah. Either way, I'm open. I'm open to discussions. That's all I really had as far as like story stuff. Do you want to hear? Do you have any other story stuff, or do you want to hear some technical things I caught and like or dislike?
Just one thing I'll say is that when I looked at what other people are saying online, I think this is a plus point for me. But there's a lot of Star Wars fans that aren't used to this slightly more mature way of show and not tell, right?
Yeah.
And there's a few people I've already seen saying we need more exposition because I don't get it. Do you know what I mean? I don't get
what else is there to get?
At the start, what's going on there? I can't read the subtitles. I don't understand.
There are no
I need to know
subtitles.
That information because Star Wars almost has kind of been like that, hasn't it? Where they just give you everything.
Well, it's because it's all been animated for a while, and it's been geared towards 10-year-olds with the animation.
Like that. That's not great.
But that's why so many of them think the prequels are good, Cam, because of the freaking animated shows, not because Lucas knows how to freaking write, and so that's Star Wars to them. Yeah, and that's why they're eating it up over on Mandalorian.
Adult series, they just they can't follow it. There's people generally saying they can't follow it, and I'm like,
they acknowledged sex in this, like that. Yeah. That was insane. They showed a female with her pants off and showed the thigh as she's putting her pants on. Like that is all stuff that is normal, everyday things they even kind of touch in the EU, but fine, normal, everyday things that we see on primetime television even. I mean,
the planet Cassian goes to at the start's like a brothel as well.
Right, and they mentioned the word brothel, and they got a red light district with the girls and windows like you see in Amsterdam and things like that. But they did it still in a way that you can still have a 10-year-old watch this.
Yeah, there was nothing.
If you as the parent are nothing super inappropriate.
Jonesy mentioned on sort of Discord, which was they do use the real word shit.
Yeah, and I can agree that it's kind of interesting, but they did use damn and hell. Or no, they didn't use Dan, they did use hell in Empire. Then I'll see you in hell, but they use it as a place, not, you know, oh hell type deal. I can both agree with Jonesy, but it like I if they had removed it, I think that this would still be fine and carry its full darker tone. If they start overusing shit just to do it, that will bug me. But hearing it maybe once or twice throughout this series,
it doesn't bother me.
Like I said, I would prefer if it not there, because that is a very Earth-based thing. And I mean, they have curse words that they made up in for Star Wars,
like you know. So,
or well, not even the ridiculous ones, but like Sith spit and blast, you know, things like that. Yeah.
Blast.
Blast it. Blast it, Biggs, where are you? But you know, like yeah, I'm okay with it overall. I like the mature tone without going full Sopranos like Mike wants. Mike wants a rated R. I want a hard PG-13 horror. So a few technical things. Cam, did you notice anything? Did you notice any CGI issues? Did you notice any?
It was. I mean, the story was so good. The aesthetic was so good. So many nice little touches that, you know, my visual awareness was on that, and not looking for mistakes. No, I didn't see any issues.
I wasn't looking for mistakes, Cam. I just find them. So no, not really a lot of bad things. Most of their composite shots look good. Because they have a lot of big open sets when they're not in a building. You know how they build big, tall blue screens up over the set so they can bring in the world, the background that they want. And because they had a lot of daylight shots, those actually looked really good. They blend in really well because you're not trying to match lighting with darker sets. You know, shadow. You're not trying to match this imaginary world that you can't see because you're not on the volume to the real world, and a lot less variables when you do it like that. So that was good. However, the junkyard dogs, dude, what the hell? I can't tell from the best that I can tell. They are, I think there's a practical animal wearing prosthesis for like motion capture, but they looked like rubber suits as well, which in my mind would then say, why didn't you just build the rubber suit? There's something wrong with those animals, and I cannot put my finger on it. So it's either...
Animals are so hard to do. I mean, we talked about this in the Rings of Power, that you hated the warg shot.
They were awful.
Sometimes animals are really hard to do. So.
Yeah, that's why I think there is a physical being there, but I think they're using some sort of mocap on that dog. I think it's probably like a dog, but then it looks so plasticky. It looks so rubbery, which means that if I mean, hey, I'd be okay with putting the dog in rubber.
If you came from an alien planet and somebody showed you a bulldog, you'd be like that, you know, like a British bulldog with that floppy face. You'd be like, that doesn't look real.
No, it's not like the folds and stuff, dude. It's the like movement and texture looks more like a rubber suit, which would be fine. Star Wars is filled with rubber suits. My OBS seems to have frozen. Let me see here. Okay, so this is it's been a
technical difficulty.
Yeah, I always do the what is it called? The please stand by. So we'll see. I'm gonna reset my camera. Maybe it'll come back. Maybe it won't. So I saw that, and then nothing else really, man. Overall, solid. Just those things that I caught right there. There was some of the like darker city shots on the first planet with Cassian, where he, kills the two guys. That definitely, I did see a few things where it's kind of not enough to bug me. It wasn't as bad as like a Marvel show recently, Those have been just absolutely atrocious, but you guys can hear me complain about Marvel on Marvel Multiverse Mayhem here on the GenreVerse Podcast Network.
I mean, you just feel with this, the fact that they didn't use the volume, it probably costs more money, so I don't know how viable it is going forward.
I don't know.
But it looks better because of that. It really does.
I love the physical sets. I love the feel of the show. Some of the engines falling and stuff. Some of that CGI compositing. Again, not bad enough, but I still caught it. And I just want to be fair. People that think that I'm like,
because you couldn't do that practically, because it's too dangerous. So it's like,
and dropping even foam ones, you got to worry about, do they bounce and you don't see them as heavy anymore,
and you can't use them again.
Exactly. So I just want to make sure that I'm being fair and not favoring Star Wars over Marvel or allowing one group to get away with things and not another. I've nitpicked on just about everything these days, and like I said, one of the things that I'm curious about, and I'd love to ask a visual effects artist, but in the as we were going from the early 2000s to like the late 2000s, we saw like peak CGI as we were heading from the late 90s into the early 2000s, we saw the beginnings of this new CGI that we've now perfected, leading up to about Endgame, Infinity War and Endgame. So you had all the digital effects in Revenge of the Sith, and then you see things like in Lord of the Rings. But if you go back, like, you remember Lord of the Rings, and that was the greatest CG motion cap character ever.
But what you've got to remember with Lord of the Rings is it wasn't HD at that point as well.
Right. That's what I'm getting at.
Once you put it in 4K, you've noticed some stuff in that.
It doesn't look as good. But not only that, as technology got better, as they basically fine-tuned CGI, it got to a level to where it was just perfected. However, over the last few years, we've seen a lot of hardware changes, a lot of new technology coming into play, software, things like AI assisted graphics and things like that. I think we're at that kind of early phase that we were in like the late 90s, where there's a lot of experimentation with things that aren't going to look as good
I think that's
as
fair,
they will in the future. So maybe some of that's in there.
All the movies were suddenly using special effects. Now we're doing. There's been another explosion of special effects. If you look at all the TV shows using them, all the Marvel movies, the Star Wars. Oh, there isn't any Star Wars movies, but there's just so much special effects needed, and there's only so many people in the world that make them, and they all want it done last week, and they want to pay as little money as they possibly can to keep it under budget. And ultimately, there is times where that quality just gets stretched out, or they run out of time. I think with Marvel, a lot of time it's they just get it out the door, and then they'll fix it later on if they can be bothered.
And I just saw my very, very last complaint, the intro. I am angry at how long that title card takes to come up for 3 episodes in a row. That is annoying.
I'll give you that. That actually did annoy me.
The first time, good.
3, because I'm like, when it says skip intro,
that's just the Star Wars part. Plus. Yeah.
Sorry, that's the bit I mean. I just want to get into the show, because at some point you sometimes want to watch these as one thing. I tried to watch Obi-Wan and Kenobi again recently, and I hated having to skip. Like, see, when you get to the end of an episode, unlike Netflix, it doesn't come up straight away and say go to the next one. You almost have to fast forward it to the end of the credits.
The UI sucks, or you got to back out and then go into the the UI sucks for you, Disney.
That. For something like Obi-Wan Kenobi, that almost feels like one complete story, and this as well, where it is one story being told over those 3 episodes. The other criticism, very slight, I would have is that, having seen this, I think it's going to be difficult to go to 1 episode a week.
I don't know. We'll see. I can see that being a potential issue,
because we get the full kind of arc, if you like, of those 3 episodes. I don't know. That was good.
The good news is, Cam, that everyone should be able to come back next week and hear our thoughts on how a single episode went. Guys, check out the website, lrmonline.com, every day for all entertainment news, needs, and opinions. Reviews, written reviews. Cam actually has a written review for Cassian Andor. I'm just messing around, guys. I like it. I actually do. It's funny, in a good way. All of the celebrity interviews, everything that goes up there, celebrity interviews on the LRM YouTube channel. And all of our podcasts are available right there. They get their own write-ups, and they're on all your favorite podcast apps like Spotify and Google, Stitcher, Apple. We're also on Sounder, so GenreVerse.sounder.fm if you want to listen to us that way. There we are. Look, right there. Isn't it pretty? Leave us reviews, especially on Apple. Leave 4 or 5 star reviews. Look, if you give us like 1 or 2, let us know why, so we can try to fix it. The opinions, they're gonna remain bad, guys. Sorry, we're awful. But all of the podcasts go up in video format right here on the YouTube channel. Hit the red subscribe button. Thank you again to all 553 that are any of you that are listening right now. That's great. I know most of those are anime fans, because that's one of the things that we do here on the channel. We have Anime-Versal Reviews and AVR Squared, which is reactions. Violet Evergarden Classroom of the Elites Season 2, looking for Spy Family Part 2 and Chainsaw Man coming up in October. Review of the Rings, Daily Cup of Genre, Marvel Multiverse Mayhem, which is doing She-Hulk right now. It's like the Marvel version of this show right here. Breaking Geek Radio and Daily Cog do a little bit of everything in entertainment news. And yeah. Cam, anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I think you covered everything. Details
of
below. Give us a shout online on Twitter or whatever if you want to reach it and tell us that you hate our opinions, or just tell us what you'd like to see us change or add into the shows going forward.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. May the force be with you.